There we go. Holy cow, I'm getting my wings back. Let's see here. It's all me at the moment. Well, let's see. We definitely got a minute. Everybody should be joining soon. Anybody out there, thank you for joining me for Karmic Transmission number 21. We'll wait for a few more people to get in before we start running things down. I hope you all had a wonderful Monday in February, though, so far. Can't believe it's February. My goodness. February. Unreal. Hey, there we go. What's going on, brother? Gonna have to hit that mute button.
Hey, brother. How are you?
Good, man.
Good. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you. Man,
too.
That beard's looking good, man.
Yeah. Yours too. I don't know how long it'll last this length.
Oh yeah, you starting to get bothered with it?
Sometimes.
Yeah. It happens. I've been noticing it's about time for another trim. I'm starting to get my wings flaring out on the sides here again.
Yeah, I just shaved my head and trimmed the side a little bit.
Yeah.
Just
looks good, man. Looking really good. You and Nisha are getting ready to go on a trip here soon, aren't you?
Yeah.
That'll be awesome.
We're going to, where are we going? Cancun.
Mm-hmm. Dude, that'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun.
It'll be good. Oh, Eric says he can't turn on his video.
Yeah, hang on. Let me get him. There we go. He just, for some reason, didn't let him come in as a panelist right off the gate. There he is. And he should be able to, turn on his thing and mute.
There he is.
Hey, Eric, what's going on, man?
Oh, wow. My hair looks great.
It happens. I was actually just looking. I've got this little point going on here myself.
Right.
Looks like my hair before I shaved it off today.
No, I've been debating on doing that, but I feel like I'm not ready to accept that fate yet.
I know it's tough. It's just a realization we have to come to, I guess.
Right.
All
guess.
Hey there, Ayame. How are you?
Good. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my camera going here.
You're all good. Well, since you're getting on here, I'm going to go ahead and give us through the rundown. Welcome, everyone. Karmic Transmission number 21. We got Eric Judson with us today, and he's one of our wonderful Karma Incarnate agents. You can find him at I Am Karma. If you're joining us online, you can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Karma Incarnate. On Twitter, we're at the Karmic Feed. We've got Ayame, or at Ayame X Goddess on Twitter. I think I got all of them, at least according to my little notebook here. Did I leave anything out, Ayame?
I think you've got it all.
Okay, this list will get perfect eventually, one day, maybe.
One day. We'll get there.
But as I was saying, we got Eric Judson with us. Eric, thanks for joining us. It's always exciting to have an awesome Karma agent on. And dude, it's a new year. How's your new year started so far?
I've been pretty busy actually. What's been going on? I started a new teacher training with yoga, and any free time I have, it's been kind of taken over by studying and trying to self-motivate an online course. I don't know if anybody's ever done an online course, but man, it's really hard to just push yourself without having a deadline or whatnot. I have a year to do this, so I don't know. I want to pace myself, but I don't at the same time. It's weird, but it's been fun. How about yourself?
Dude, it's been a whirlwind. I as everyone was getting in it, I can't believe it's the first Karmic Transmission of February already, So it's kind of crazy, but it's been busy. We're keeping real busy. Always lots of stuff going on for as slow as it seems. That's the crazy part. So I completely forgot about the Super Bowl this last weekend. So
I didn't even know it was the Super Bowl until I showed up at a bar and they had the Super Bowl playing, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
It was super weird this year. It's interesting because I kind of came to realize, as somebody who doesn't really care about the Super Bowl in general, that I kind of miss all of the I miss everyone else being excited about it.
Yeah, the hype and everything around it.
Yeah, it's the build up. Even though I don't do anything, it's kind of weird not having that.
Yeah.
Wasn't a very good game.
I was going to ask, did you watch it, Clint?
I heard that.
I did. 31-9.
Wow.
That is-
Tom Brady has more rings than any football franchise. So Tom Brady has 7 rings.
Well, he knows how to play that game.
Yep. The Steelers and Patriots have 6.
Yeah.
And that's the franchise. So,
That's insane.
and now there's groups saying that it's white privilege.
Huh. Which is interesting because February is like what, Black History Month and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
which is even more interesting. I feel like it wasn't even that long ago that segregation was a real life thing, but it feels like it was forever ago. Obviously, it was before our lifetimes, but
only just.
yeah, only just. You know what I mean? That's what blows my mind is that how quickly that change happened. That we don't really kind of associate it with, but the generation before us totally does. But here we are in a different world than they lived in, and it wasn't even like that different of changing of a thought, if you really ask me. You know.
Well, what's crazy is, we saw this news article the other day that said the last Civil War widow finally passed away. Yeah, think about that. The last Civil War. You think that was forever ago, and it's really our grandparents talking
Right.
that kind of stuff.
Amazing.
It's crazy how not far away it kind of was when you actually put it into the grand scheme of things.
Do you think I don't know, they had an intention of like ending hunger or like ending obviously like segregation and stuff like that? Where did that idea start from? Was it something similar to this where we just wanted to get together as a group of people and we're like, hey, we're done with this idea. We're past this. We should be able to move on. And that's where it rippled and turned into this huge thing. Obviously, it took 100 years, but I feel like it took 100 years in the right step, if you ask me.
Well, there's always those, you can kind of look at them as linchpin moments, but in all reality, it doesn't take much. It is small groups and individuals willing to come together and start trying to organize and make something happen that actually makes it happen, and it requires that spirit. They say for the Revolutionary War to start, it took 3% of the population at the time. 3% is really not that much, so it's quite a bit more when you compare it to, what
Now
there's
it is
8
a little
billion plus people on the planet or whatever. So 3% seems like a lot, but in all reality,
Suppose that it depends on if it's 3% based on the population at the time or 3% based on the current population.
I'm pretty
and
sure
how
it was all
much jumped
population.
on board after the first drop,
Mhm.
It didn't take long for us to actually fight a war and pass legislation and stuff to make everything equal. It didn't take long from that until now, where we have people looking for racism where it doesn't exist.
I don't know. Personally, I think people just hate Tom Brady. Like everybody I know just hates Tom Brady.
Pretty
And
much.
I mean,
That's-
it's like all I've been seeing, I've seen more memes today about Tom Brady being a piece of crap than I have about anything else.
Because people hate a winner, especially if they're losing in life right now.
Well, see, I can't comment to that because I don't follow football, but
right? But
most
I
of
feel
the
like it's
people that
also how
follow
you
football
win,
that I
too.
know don't like Tom Brady, and it has nothing to do with the fact that he's white.
Well, it goes to show you, of all the racist colors out there, green, envy and all of that kind of stuff is the worst color that all people can have, right? Because that's all that stuff is. People that hate Tom Brady, it's jealousy.
Well, hate him for his accomplishments, fine. Don't blame his physical characteristics.
Yeah, him winning Super Bowls has nothing to do with
That's what
that.
I'm saying.
But
I personally haven't seen that. All I've heard is just people just hate Tom Brady because he's a piece of shit.
that's mostly what.
But I don't follow football, so I don't know.
It was an article that Tim Pool was talking about.
Huh? That's that. I don't think I'm familiar with him. Is he got like a YouTube channel or something?
You know who Tim Pool is? He's got a YouTube channel.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not as familiar.
For now, until they pull him off the air, pull him off YouTube.
Well, it goes to show
Not
you,
throwing the company a line.
anything's bound to happen. You know, it's a shame that it was a bad game, though. Were the commercials any good? Did anybody watch the commercials?
No, they suck too.
Really?
Yeah, it's 2020 and 2021. Everything sucks. Remember?
Yeah. I can't imagine that anybody was putting too much effort into commercials for a Super Bowl that almost didn't happen to begin with.
The best thing about it is they had a bunch of healthcare workers in the stadium. So they filled it with people that had been immunized.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the healthcare workers and stuff. So I think a lot of people got to go to the game that otherwise probably couldn't have gone.
That's definitely nice to hear.
That's cool.
It's kind of like a lot of rich people go,
Oh yeah.
So at least that's the story they were telling me. So that was pretty good.
That's really cool. Well, then I am glad that they got to go. That's really cool. Well, Super Bowl. I used to use it as an excuse to have a barbecue with friends, but I haven't done that for years. I ought to maybe try it again one of these days.
Yeah, you got the house and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Make 2022 the year, because that's when you'll be able to have people over again.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think that they haven't really restricted it again, have they? Though.
I mean, not technically, no. I mean, technically you can do whatever you want either way. It's just, whether or not you should be doing it or whether or not you shouldn't be doing it. It's a personal choice. Either way, I'm guessing that, most people probably wouldn't show up to one this year either way. So,
right.
But if we're still in the middle of this by this time next year, I think there's going to be a much bigger problem on our hands than the fact that you can't have a barbecue.
Yeah.
No kidding.
It'll be bad. Well, it's not an election year, so maybe odds are good that it won't be a thing.
Anybody else start anything new this year?
Dude, I was actually just going to ask you the same thing, Eric. I was going to ask how your yoga stuff has been treating you.
Man, it is awesome. It really is. An end goal I want to do with this is I want to do an online yoga class, because I feel like yoga is so much more deep. It's like karma. Like you hear the idea of karma and you're like, oh, it's just an action, right? But like, it's so much more than an action. There's a ripple, and then there's a reaction and a re-reaction, and there's like this whole cycle of, it's big, it's more than just karma. So that's what kind of yoga is. And I feel like being able to spread the idea of karma, if you have a little bit more understanding of where karma stems from yoga, it really kind of helps humble you and kind of take that attachment of the fruit from the action. Because I feel like that's one thing I was just talking about. How long did segregation take? And did they really have an attachment for the fruit, or was it just that's how they felt? And I don't know. I don't know how other ideas have actually been pushed through life. I know how ideas are pushed through life now, and it's all by like money and whoever is can do it. But I feel like true feelings and true actions are just so much more predominant. It's so much more validating when you can't contradict it.
It's acting from principle and
right.
Foundations, and that's the big one, because call it what you will, the idea that karma, the old Sanskrit for the idea of karma is action, right?
Right.
Now, when you take that back to a principle, it's action on anything,
Right.
And the interesting thing with doing the yoga and everything else to want to go with it is that the yoga is just an action,
right? Like
and what you're working from there is the continuation of that action, and
exactly. And it's almost like trying to liberate that action in my eyes, because it's like we're in this constant cycle, and how do you break free from this cycle? It's one question that's just bothered me, or not bothered me, but just made me ponder a little bit more. But the whole act of yoga is anything coming together in union to work together. That's yoga. It's not just like a physical practice, which everybody thinks it is. it's so much more deeper than that. And it's more trying to understand of what we're working with, this field of reality, if you want to call it, and how we can kind of work with it more than against it. If we understand it, we can kind of, like I said, flow with the river when we can, be a rock when we need to, or be the fire when it needs to change when we can. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much more materials we could work with than just trying to raw force an idea down people's throat. And that's what I love about karma right now. Is just, I feel like we're so let go of the idea of the end game of ending hunger that we're just wanting to do something now about it. And I bet the ripple in 10 years, in 20 years, in our generation after this, like, who knows what it's going to turn into? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well,
Right.
we've always talked about, one of the things that we're here to do is we're not here to save something. Nothing needs saving right now. We're not here to save the world. What we're here to do is we're here to change things so that in the end the problems are different. That's the idea, because things are always going to progress and move forward. Things deteriorate with time. There's nothing to be saved. But what we can do is, yoga, the act of yoga, the stretching and everything else, it's a training and a discipline, and those disciplines and things,
And a commitment.
well, the commitment is where it comes in. Is you need the commitment to stay disciplined with it, to actually make the change visible, right? And that's the first thing that's got to happen, though, is you've got to take that action, commit to taking it all the time. And once you've done something, natural law dictates that it's going to come back around in cycles. That's how nature moves. Growth and harvest and rebirth and everything else, it all happens in a cycle. Once we've dialed things into that natural law, to that natural order, with whatever it is, yoga or a meditation, if that's what you're wanting to do, is just kind of get some relief and enlightenment from something, whatever it is, it's that beginning and continuation of it to make the cycle complete, right?
Right. It really also has taught me in another way of that you can breathe through a lot of difficult situations and have a smile on your face about it, and just kind of have a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And once I'm done with this teacher training and stuff, I want to do like I said, an online class where I'd probably upload weekly videos, and it'd be totally free to a Karma membership or whatnot. Just anybody could access it. And if they've got the space at home, dude, if you take 30 minutes or an hour to yourself and kind of ground yourself and realize where you are floating through space, it really kind of gives your senses, somewhere to resonate back to it, and kind of lets you vocalize that internal voice a little bit more, because you kind of understand who you are a little bit more, if that makes sense. Because when you're trying to communicate like what we are doing, it's all these internal thoughts that are wanting to change the external world. And that's very difficult if you don't have a strong foundation of your internal self, of where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
You can't burn yourself out if you don't have the land to do it, the earth, whatever you want to call it, the roots. It's an interesting field that we're working with. And I don't know, it's been fun work. I don't know.
That's really cool, though. It's neat that you started to connect that and want to build more with your yoga stuff and everything else, because that's one of the things that we've talked about all the time is, karma is one of those things that you bring it in and make it a part of yourself, and you just represent it in what you do. It doesn't have to be the thing that defines you or makes you that. It's just a part of who you are. Eric Judson is a really cool person. It's just neat that he does karma too. Just like Clint, Naomi, and the Steels, everybody that we've gotten involved, Carrie and Jerry.
Right.
These are all just incredible people that are all driven to want to do something bigger than themselves.
But I love how they don't flaunt it, in a sense that it's more of a heart impulse. Like, for example, I had a party at my house the other day. It was like a month ago, and I had the Karma Christmas postcard on my fridge. Right? Did everybody get that? That dude, it's so great. I love it.
Isn't that a good one?
Dude, it's so awesome.
That was a great one.
And my buddy walks past it, Dale. I don't know if you met Dale, but Rex knows him, and he sees Rex, and he's like, "Oh, look how cool Rex looks," you know.
Mhm.
Instantly has that connection of karma, and I don't even talk about it. But anywho, the whole night goes on. We have a good time, sleep over. The next morning, we wake up, and my buddy, who is also over, is in another MLM. He's in Amway, and immediately started talking about like, "Hey, when are you going to come to my meeting?" and blah blah blah. And super took all the energy of the whole vibe of the party, and just took it and stole it almost to be like, "Hey, everybody's here for me," instead of like, "We're here for just everyone. We're here to have a good time."
Mhm.
And it totally killed the vibe, but it was just very interesting seeing the two businesses next to each other,
Right.
where I didn't even have to mention it. I had a freaking card on my freaking fridge, and it was just like, "Oh yeah, dude, I know exactly what karma is, you know, dude,
Yeah.
awesome." And it was just like night and day what we do for. And
Mhm.
it's hard to be content with what we're doing and have a smile, because we want to push this idea. We want to have ending hunger, you know, we want to have obviously some universal basic income. There's so many pros to this business, but like, it's not going to happen overnight. And Rex said it since day one. If you're in this to make money quick, like, sorry, turn your shoulder. It's not what's going to happen. We're in the long run, and it sucks, but like, how do you have a smile with it at the same time?
Mhm.
Big problems always take the longest to change and fix. I mean, you know, that it's you can't expect to fix something like hunger overnight.
Nope.
You know, even if we did have, you know, 10,000 people in it, you know, hunger is one of those. I mean, it's basically been a universal concept the entire time we've, as a species, have existed. I mean, this is really the only time in history where the idea of ending hunger is even really feasible when you think about it. And
Well,
that's what, tens of thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years that organisms have needed to consume food for energy.
right. If we would
And
have more of a priority.
just now in this generation, we maybe have that ability, or have the ability to start doing that.
Mhm.
What's funny, to give you a time frame, is look at COVID, when everybody's on the same wavelength to solve an idea. I mean, a problem or whatnot. We just can say hunger's X. If we're all on the same page, how long can it take for us to actually solve a problem? You know?
Well, the thing with the problem is that its solution is kind of like we said, it's only going to give change to the different problems, because as these things move and escalate, it'll bring about different things for people to look at. And you know, the hunger thing being for as long as it has been, the thing that makes this so unique with karma and our group is that everybody that's coming to do it is doing it voluntarily. I can't think of a single person that has been strong armed or coerced or anything like that to want to be involved. And that's the thing. Well, you don't count because you owe me a life debt. So
That's
anything,
true. That's true.
you know, that's we'll get into that later. But I'm kidding. She does. Ami does not owe me a life debt. For anybody watching this, it's not the case. But no, that's the thing that's so incredible and why it actually has the chance to work. More so than anything, when people are willing to throw their hat in the ring and say, "Hey, you know what? This is worth my time and effort." That's when it has the actual chance to go the distance. You know, it's the minute that you start forcing people in or trying to leverage something against them to act, it starts to break down the system, because people don't like to feel used. They want to feel like they're participating, you know. And it's just like we talk about in karma, the name of the game isn't to give people a handout, it's to give them a handout. It's a chance to get a little bit of assistance where they can and start building something for themselves too while they're at it.
Well, at the very least, I mean, it speaks to the brave. I mean, with karma, I think the defining difference, and I think I've mentioned this before, is that it's not even a breakdown of the concept, because realistically, if we wanted this business to be something where we were telling people, you can make, you know, you can get rich doing this and you can get rich doing it quickly, like most MLMs, that would almost be an easier route for us to take, because if you look at MLMs traditionally, that's how they trick people into getting into them, is those promises of a quick return and a big return. You know, karma would be really so much easier if it was about tricking people into getting involved. I mean, you see those type of things, you know, we've talked about it before with organized religion, where it's like, you know, you're holding your soul hostage, and people don't always, and this isn't true with all religion, but it's certainly true with some religions and some sects specifically, where it is about like coercing you and making you feel like you're doing something good when you're not, or when you're being manipulated. And that's, you know, if we start doing that, that destroys the spirit of it, which is really the crux of the whole thing.
Right. We're putting our roots in good place, if you ask me.
I guess I just mean, it's like, it's, you know, you talk about destroying the behind this, the backbone of it. To me, the backbone is always, we're not coercing people. We're not tricking people into doing something positive. It really is a positive thing. And sometimes it takes longer to understand that you are doing a positive thing and you're not being tricked, because people are so used to being tricked. People are so used to looking for, you know, that other angle to it. Yeah. And in a lot of ways, with the way marketing works, it would be so much easier to just trick people into trying to make them do something.
Oh yeah. Well, everyone's always looking for the fine print, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, when you look at our one-page stuff, there's not really a lot of fine print on there. There's a couple of graphics, you know, pretty direct breakdown of what's going on. But you know, in the end, you don't need gimmicks and things like that, because if we all do better, then
right,
that's the end goal. And the idea, Rex mentions this all the time, is we're investing in humanity is the end goal. We're sitting here and saying, you know what, of all the things that we can put our time and effort and energy into, people are the greatest and rarest commodity, and that's the one that we should actually lean on, because they're creative, they're intelligent, they're capable, they're resourceful. I mean, I'm looking at 3 people right here with me that are online 7:30 at night on a Monday talking about ending hunger, changing the world, and wanting to address problems bigger than themselves. You want to know how you fix something, Eric? Hey, actually take something and start moving an idea forward. It's this right here. And that's what's so incredible about karma, is it lets people do that in any way that they want to. You know, all it takes is a little bit of a commitment.
Right. And I want to,
in all reality, in my opinion, easy and hard. Not with
one of my goals.
Hard.
Sorry. Keep going.
Huh?
Sorry, I was just gonna say, one of my goals of yoga is to make the obtain to wanting to try yoga a little bit more easier, to eliminate goals from my end, to allow an individual to try it or see it or have it come into their lives. And I want to do the same thing with karma. Like, obviously I'm already invested in karma. I want to eliminate structures that are in our ways, obstacles that are in our ways, to help other agents get other agents involved and have it focus into other people's lives. You know, I want to make it more universal. I feel like, who has the universe's back more than the universe? So be like the universe, you know, like, I don't know. It's
that's an interesting one. Who has the universe's back more than the universe? Yeah.
Right. And you know, so it's about that self, not harm. You know, about trying to take care of yourself and be able to take care of others. But it's that ripple. I don't know, Clint, you've been quiet all night. What have you been thinking about?
I haven't been quiet all night. I've been thinking about how hard it is to do a downward dog correctly.
Right.
Oh,
I've never tried one, so
it was great.
My sister does yoga, so I've done a little bit of it. It's pretty fun.
Right, Maisie. Have you? Of course. I love Maisie, dude. She's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Yeah, she's good at it.
I don't know how she got spoiled to go to a trip across the world for as long as she did, but I'm jealous.
Well, have you seen her?
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
I think I only met her once at your guys' wedding, Clint.
She's cool.
I met Maisie.
Yeah, she's cool. Do you do hot yoga?
Yeah, most of the time. But you know, that's on the same terms of what we're trying to do with karma. It's very like rajastic is what I call it, or what yogas call it, where it's like the energy of changing something. It's very futuristic thinking. It's very mind thinking. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah. It brings
To
that same
me-
type of energy.
To me, I don't know, and Rex and Jake touch on this all the time. It's not really complicated karma.
No.
It's giving people the opportunity to exercise their ability in the free market without it being corrupt.
Right. How many other like opportunities are out there that are
Honest.
like this?
It's just honest business for the purpose of helping humanity.
Yeah.
And also, you know, propelling the idea of honest fucking business
Right.
instead of the shit that we're in now.
Right. It's too good to be true. That's what kills us, you know. This can't exist.
It's hard for people to wrap their head around because they get coerced into this one side or the other, that business is evil, no, government's evil, no, this is evil. Well, there's evil in everything. And that's why you make these adjustments. You don't do a complete overhaul and burn everything down.
Evil's a duality, you know. We're
Make
all flipping the same coin right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I think it is. Just
Yeah.
come play in the free market, do it honestly, and do it for a good reason. And see what
Right.
happens.
And if you couple it with exercise, you'll be healthier all the way around.
Do you
That's-
think
yeah.
the stock market thing with
Hell
this
yeah.
GameStop thing kind of shook people up on the idea of what our money's doing, or what stocks are even are?
Well,
You heard about all this stuff, right? Where like
yeah,
GameStop
the
went up.
GameStop, AMC buyout with all the stock and stuff, where they cost, what was
Yeah.
it, venture capitalists, like $8.5 trillion or something like that. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. It was pretty fun. Well, here's the thing, you know, go back to one of the things that we talked about in the very beginning when we talked about karma, right? And we've changed tunes quite a bit, you know, over the years, at least in the last 3, especially now looking at adding, you know, retail products and things like that. But, you know, we always talked about how money is like a tool. It's a measuring stick.
Yeah.
It's a ruler that tells you how much economic energy you have to play the game, be it business, be it just life, whatever it is. Money is nothing more than a measuring tool. And this thing that happened with the stock market was just that. But more so, it showed that it's a tool that can be manipulated by people that have more wealth. That's really what it showed. And that's why it's like, okay, well, let's quit playing their game. You know, don't worry about investing in stocks, invest in karma, because that's a game that they can't manipulate. And it's the kind of game that lifts us all to their level, which is the last thing that they want. You know
How
what I
could you
mean?
even manipulate karma?
That's
How
just,
could you even manipulate it?
there's nothing to manipulate. The system,
Right.
it's like the sunshine.
Right.
You know,
You can't contradict it.
yeah, you can't. And so in the end, you know, it's really funny to see that, because it really did that. You know, that's one that we talked about in the very, very beginning, is how money's just a ruler. And when you quit looking at it for what it's not and start using it for what it is, literally the world is your oyster, pun intended, since you can eat oysters, guys. Huh?
World's interesting, man. You guys all seen the movie Soul?
And there's nothing wrong with making a lot of money doing the right thing
Right.
and doing it the right way.
Almost a contradiction of terms, really.
Mhm.
Have you seen the Pixar movie Soul that just came out?
I have not yet. I was
Oh,
going to watch
man.
it last night, but I finished watching The Mandalorian and then I watched all of WandaVision.
Soul's good. Soul's good.
I've heard it's really good.
It pitches this whole idea of like having a spark in this world. And it's like you can try anything in this soul world to like want to try on Earth, but when you get on Earth, it's like a pay-to-play game where you have to figure out certain ways to get to do that one thing that you really want to do. And it's just interesting how many avenues you have to do and how hard life really is sometimes. And you know what I mean? And I love that karma is one more avenue that can just get us there. It's just hard that like people don't see it that way. And you know, I feel everybody struggle trying to spread this idea. But I know it will. I know it'll catch on. The more hooks we have on, the more seeds we have planted. Because every time we talk to somebody, I can't tell you how many times people think of hunger and think of me, like a family member. Oh, 3 years. I haven't talked to them forever, and they're like, "Oh, I came across this person, and I instantly thought of you. I'm going to send them your way for food or whatnot." And it's just interesting how that kind of plays out in the long run. Just because you don't get that instant gratification, you know, the cycle does come back. If it's not directly to you, there's a ripple that happens to them, that happens to them family, that happens to some other stranger, that maybe that stranger happens to you. You know, it comes back way more than you even see. But you got to start that drop somewhere, that stream somewhere. Even if it's the millionth erosion down the same river, it will finally forge a new path. It just takes consistency and commitment, you know.
Yeah, and we've got some of the most consistent people in the world, which is one of the coolest parts about karma.
I would say we definitely have a consistent group of people. So it's been like everybody who's been in it for the most part has been like in it for the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think you could point to anybody that's still in it, certainly, and most people that ever were, were usually pretty long term.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, and that goes to show you that these ideas and these kinds of truths, they speak across all areas, into all groups of people. Because in the end, it's really incredible, the simple fact that we've been able to do the things that we've been able to do for as long as we have, and it's still going. I can't think of another company that started debt free and has remained debt free for over 10 years in the fashion that we have. And it's all because we've got dedicated individuals like Rex that, are willing to do all kinds of things to make sure that we have something like karma to play with. That's one of the things that's just incredible, because most places are going to borrow money, or they're going to try to leverage something to make it happen, and the greatest thing that you can do is find a way to act locally with what resources you have, because then the resources will come. That's that ripple that you're talking about, Eric. You've got to start the drop for the ripple to move and affect everything going down. And we always equate it to a rising tide raises all ships, right? But something had to start pushing a little bit for that tide to move and get all of the water high enough to lift all those ships too. And so it takes that effort. Luckily, that's really actually a horrible analogy. That really didn't pan out in any which way, because we don't really have a moon, so to speak. But
I think earthquakes are what start tidal waves, and generally, and karma could be equated to an earthquake, because
there you go. There it is. See, it
can be a very subtle movement, and if it's underneath, it's underneath the water. It doesn't have to be a big earthquake. It can be a very small, unseen force that causes this tsunami. Fortunately, karma is not destructive, so it isn't a perfect analogy, but
I got a better analogy for you.
It starts out good, and then it kind of.
I like that you can run with this, though. I'm running with this. Sorry, Eric, go ahead.
Okay, no. Try this analogy, right? So karma, this idea of karma, is a moonlight shining upon a lake, right? It's illuminated on this lake. This lake is our minds, okay? We'll just say that. However, there's these tides and these waves, which are our thoughts, and they're changing and distorting the moon that's shining on this lake, which is the idea of karma. So until you can calm your mind of these thoughts and actually see the clear picture, you won't really kind of see the picture of karma through what karma is. You'll convolute it and you'll distort it and you'll pull it different ways, because karma it's there, it's changing, it's not hurting anything, but your thoughts of how you're looking at it and your perception changes how it illuminates. So I think until people can kind of calm down and focus and restrain themselves a little bit more in certain ways, and we're not so chaotic right now, because our energies are everywhere. You know what I mean? It's hard to struggle right now. It's hard to contain your own self when you're trying to do so much. You have a work life, you have a house life. How do you do extracurricular life like karma on top of all these other energies, or even study for my yoga. It's like, where do I make the time or the energy? It's interesting how these thoughts and these energies can change what we really want to do. That image that's really shining. Sorry, I didn't really mean to.
No, dude, that's a good one.
It started off as an analogy and it kind of drifted
Yes.
into something else there.
Right, my thoughts took over. Obviously, you can see
Yeah.
you can see how powerful the waves and the tides are of
You
thoughts.
can see each of those waves like
Yes.
crashing into the shore in real time.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. So how do you calm these waters, you know, and actually see what karma really wants to do, and connect to other people who see the moon the same way you see that moon, you know?
Mhm. Well, that's the
Calm the water. You calm waters by leading with your heart and listening. You know,
boom. Listen.
conversations. I think a lot of people often forget that conversations take ears and not just mouths.
Going with the wind in a sense, you know.
Mhm.
Voice is very airy. Don't force it. Kind of
I'm not
guide
going to
it.
talk airy. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know, right? Just like how you communicate, it's very through the air, you know. And if you can't,
I thought you meant like make it sound like a conference weekend.
no. But it's interesting how you can create obstacles to guide air or guide water or whatnot. You can be the Ganesha to create obstacles for other people to have to pass through to see the water at a calm spot, or you know what I mean?
What's a Ganesha?
Ganesha is the remover of obstacles. So obviously we have obstacles in life, and why do we have them? To get over them.
To learn.
To remove them, yes, to get over
Learn
them.
to grow.
Otherwise, you're going to keep coming across the same obstacle until you learn how to get over it, you know?
Mhm.
So it's just this energy of that idea of having to overcome obstacles. So I don't know, like there's a lot, and that's, I feel like what a lot of life is, but I don't feel like you can never not have help overcoming obstacles. There's no like, hey, you have to go do it alone. I mean, don't get me wrong, help will get you on the right path. It won't get you up the mountain. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
No, it's help can provide guidance and insight, but it's on you to actually make the journey and get over the top if you're going to get there.
Yes.
And the biggest thing, you know, like you said, that growth, overcoming obstacles, very much life is nothing but obstacles. Let's talk about a karmic
What do
obstacle.
you mean? I thought you just vote for the right person and the government gets you there.
Well, it depends on who you ask. You know, the best kind though, let's talk about karmic obstacles. We used to do our label events, which, you know, I hate to say it, guys, the label events are still on the old postponed agenda for the time being, just because, you know, restrictions and everything else still out there. We're gonna have to play it safe. But, you know, that right there, you mentioned it, Eric. How do you get that jab, that chance to get together with people that think like you and want to talk about this big idea and kind of keep you pumped up, right? It's needing that little bit of a fix. You go to a yoga class and do some stretching to help remind you of why you want to keep working on your yoga, right? And this, one of the hardest or one of the craziest things to hit us out of nowhere has happened in the last year and a half, where it's you've got to stay home in small groups. So a lot of those things where you would go and you would find ways to alleviate some of those obstacles and find ways to work around them, you just couldn't even do, you know. And what's incredible is that through things like this, through a karmic transmission, through YouTube videos, through, you know, Zoom and other avenues, we've still had the ability to try to get together and do these things. It might not be as easy or as convenient as everybody showing up at a warehouse and slapping stickers on food and getting all excited, which, by the way, guys, Karma Weekend's this weekend. So watch for updates, labels. We're going to do everything like that. But, you know, we can't quite share it that way, but we'll do our damnedest to give it a shot if we can, you know, because it's still worth engaging with people, because this is a wonderful thing to keep trying to push forward. So
I'm excited to overcome a lot of these obstacles, you know. I often joke that Ganesh is an elephant. That's what he's like symbolized by, and I feel like he meets you at the bottom of this hill, and then hops on your back and rides up the hill with you. And he's like, oh, there's an obstacle right there. What are you going to do about it? You know?
The proverbial monkey on your back is an elephant, huh?
Right.
Finish commands it. Right, Ayame?
Is that how that goes?
Come on. Everyone remembers Homer dressed up as Ganesh, right?
What
I
season?
don't.
Oh, maybe it's just me.
Maybe.
I don't remember
Come
that.
on, help me out here. You're a
Dude,
simple
I'm not.
guy.
I mean, I don't. What episode was
It's
that?
the one where Apu gets married.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Not gonna lie though, the first time I got into this yoga stuff and I heard the word Kali Ma, I instantly watched Indiana Jones that night. I was like, Kali Ma!
And now Apu isn't even allowed on the show.
Well, that's okay because Simpsons hasn't been good since season 13, so it's not like it really makes a difference.
Yeah.
Unless I only know one person that actually still watches the show. Unless you do. If you do, I don't take back my statement. But if you do, that's okay then.
Even if I did, you wouldn't offend me. You can't.
Right.
That's good because I'm not taking it back.
Oh, there's nothing. Come on. If Sparky watched this, then you might have to say something.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna throw out any names.
It's okay.
I know someone who still enjoys The Simpsons, which is fine. I can't believe it's still on the air, but
yeah,
talking about another movie now.
Are they really?
Yeah, and I kind of hope they do it because I imagine if they do, they'll finally have a re-release of the arcade game, which I would really like to have happen. Like I don't care about the movie, but I would like that game to come back out.
Do you think the first one had a real intention about IPA, like trying to save the environment or anything, or do you think anybody tried to have any more awareness after that movie? Or do you think it was all for jokes?
I feel like there was more awareness of Tom Hanks after that movie than anything else. Like, I feel like if anything, it boosted Tom Hanks' career, and that was really about it.
Well, Simpsons has got to be good for something. Why not helping an old actor out?
That was kind of, but that's the thing is that was kind of when he started his. I mean, I don't know because I don't follow it, but it seems to me like that was kind of when he started his resurgence a little bit. Like it was right after the Simpsons movie that you started seeing him in a lot more things and he got like a lot more popular. Now he's kind of like on that Justin Timberlake level where he's just like, he's like above reproach because it's like, oh, it's Tom Hanks. Everybody loves Tom Hanks.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that he started a pop like quartet group like NSYNC, like Justin Timberlake did.
No, it's like Justin Timberlake, like after NSYNC,
taking a box.
like he kind of fell off the face of the earth for a while and then he came back and now he's beloved. Like, do you not know this?
Apparently not. I've just said that the guy's got a good sense of humor ever since I saw his little skits on SNL with
the
Lonely Island guys.
But yeah, he's one of those actors now that everybody's, and again, maybe I'm showing my age here because I'm usually a couple months behind on the memes, but yeah, it's like Justin Timberlake and Alex Trebek and Betty White. Those are like you don't fuck with them. Like those are the guys that are like, oh yeah, we love them. Everybody loves them. It's like Tom Hanks. Yeah.
Careful, Rex might start dancing here soon. We're in sync,
Rex was more of a Backstreet Boys kid.
I don't know. We did a lot of dances at NSYNC too, so like he's just gonna start being like, oh.
If I walk out of this room and Rex is dancing, I'll get a video and send it to you guys.
Better.
Rex, I feel like Rex is more of a boys 12 kind of guy now.
I'm a boys 12 kind of guy.
Well, I mean, you
So,
can't. There's 12 of them.
They're boys.
There's 12. Every outfit bursting with boy.
Right.
If you guys haven't seen it, American Dad. Seth MacFarlane, the guy that did Family Guy and all that stuff. I would dare say his best show is American Dad. And he does one of the all-time best boy band spin-offs in an episode in like season 12 or 13. And his whole thing is he's going to combine 3 boy bands into one super boy band called Boys 12. And it's epic. It's fantastic.
They have their single in the episode. It's very funny.
Mm-hmm. So, since we're
I
talking
still
boy,
maintain. I think Bob's Burgers did boy bands a little better, but not much.
I haven't seen Bob's Burgers. That one's a little different for me.
Can you still call them boy bands?
What else would you call them?
Yeah, that's what they
man
are.
bands now?
Is that a
I
little
mean,
too
they're like pop
binary
bands.
for everybody?
It's K-pop.
K-pop.
Well, only if it's a Korean boy band, because that's what it
Oh
is.
yeah.
Like J-pop is Japanese, right?
Yeah, J-pop, K-pop. What's the other one? I don't know. I've really only like J-pop is still kind of where my heart lies.
I
Yeah,
want to go to Japan real bad. I'm sad that they're still like closed down and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Eric, did your wife do that painting behind you?
No, I wish. I was actually one of Danny's tapestries.
Oh, that's cool.
Right?
Really cool.
Snag that one. I got this wicked charcoal thing. Look at this. My friend did this. It's all done by hand. I don't know how good you can see it.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
wow,
Oh,
But
cool.
right. Sorry, my screen's kind of like
that's
shiny.
charcoal.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Right.
Wow.
So cool.
Is that a
So
ready-made frame, by the way?
What?
Did you buy that frame like off the shelf?
No, I think it was custom framed. I don't know. I got it for Christmas.
All right, I hope they put spacers in it then.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's like protected so it won't like remove the charcoal as well and all that jazz. So
Very cool. That's neat.
right,
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I mean, it looks just like the picture.
right. I know, and that it made me cry, obviously, but whatever. So it
That's
is
a
what
cool
it is.
picture to get. Really cool Christmas present.
Right. It's just interesting, like how the universe can remind you of how fragile everything is, or how beautiful life is at the moment. You know, it can be taken away or removed or changed is the better word. Any second. Kind of just gives you like another moment to breathe and try to live in that moment. I think it's interesting how we're always trying to balance those three parts of life with the past, the present, and the future. I mean, even if you want to talk about yourself, your body's very past-like. It's got like a lizard survivability. You've got your mind, which is very future-like. It wants to try to find a way out, protect it. You know, it's very always forward-thinking. And then you've got your soul, if you want to call it that, but it's that present moment, the one that just wants to be right here and appreciate everything around it so you don't miss it. You know, the whole point is to dance, not to finish. So how do you just get lost in the dance, you know? And I don't know, it's fun to find other people that are dancing as well, especially when we live in a world that's so structured. And it's not, you know, it hasn't always been this way, and we think that it has been, and it's just hard to break these walls. But what better way to do than dance, you know?
Exactly. Well, and the best way to start doing that is you change the tune, right? And that's the thing that everything allows us to do is through karma or yoga or any other thing. It's a way for us to change the tune of our own dance. And you know, when you start going from a two-step to a Watusi or something, it tends to pick up and get a little more engaging. And that's the thing that everybody wants, is that engagement and to be around people that are engaged with them as well.
Right. Like, I mean, even if you had like a swing from a normal step, it goes from like a dot, 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 dot to like a dot, dot, to dot, dot, to dot, dot. But it's still the same beat, but you're just flavoring it a little bit. And I think it's interesting how, I don't know, music's dope. If you really ask me, it's so much older than what we are. Like things vibrating and resonating. It's really cool how that connects. And, you know, it's very metaphoric, if you ask me. It's just like I said, you can change the beat or change the tempo without changing the beat, or change the beat without changing the tempo. So it still resonates to most people, but it kind of flavors it a little way. It gets people to think in a certain way, to scratch my own back instead of scratch somebody else's, or vice versa.
Well, sometimes that's when you find out, if you scratch somebody else's back, your back gets scratched too, because it's your back, right?
Right. Well, it's hard to break free from that survivability mode and go into a creative mode. because your whole existence is how to survive. How do you pay rent? You know, how do you feed yourself? How do you do all these things to keep going? You know, how do you break that cycle and start thinking, how do you create in this world? How do you, it's a different mentality than trying to survive. Karma's great. It's both. It hits the nail on both heads. It hits survivability and gives you the option to start creating and producing other things and helping other people. I can't believe we haven't come to a point in life where we haven't created a way for us to help each other. You know, you think we've been doing it long enough where we've just taken things over. I mean, I blame America a lot for this, where it's just like, oh, we just conquer it and change it and make it our way. We don't know how to adapt and live with the people. Like, take the Native Americans. I'm sure they had a great way of living with the land, but we were just like, nah, this is our way of living. Sorry, either like grow with us or get out. And it sucks because, we're very forceful just by nature, by being here. Like, that's just our roots. It's hard to learn how to adapt.
That's everybody's roots.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's how society used to propagate. But, again, it comes back to what we were saying before about, like, we've reached a point where we've basically, all the land has been conquered and occupied. It's like now we can switch into that creative mode where it's no longer about, let's find a way to take over more. Let's find a way to control more. Now we can get into that point where it's like, now we can start shifting our way of thinking into that other mode.
I agree too.
More about creativity and working together and, finding better ways to do things.
Right.
Rather than, just desperately clinging to the way things used to be when things aren't that way anymore.
Right. I mean, look how creative karma is. It's a new way to do hunger. It's a creative way to solve a problem instead of it being, I don't know, responsive. It's more preventative. I mean, yeah, we are responding, don't get me wrong, but it's a way to change that mindset to prevent it before it's a problem again. I don't know if that's another American thought too, is that we live in a pharmaceutical world and it's all about, oh, I did something, I need a quick fix. There's no like preventative care or do the work before it needs to happen. That mentality isn't really strong here. We're all about quick results and being like in and out. We're busy.
Sorry, I got a cat.
It's also easier to sell people a quick fix.
Totally.
Than it is to really think about, elaborate long-term care.
Totally.
In any regard, not just with medicine, but it's just like it's so much easier to react to a problem than to prevent a problem. And even when the results are way worse, it's a lot easier to say, okay, well, we have the problem now and we'll fix it and we'll deal with the consequences, rather than saying, I'm going to take these smaller steps to prevent a problem from occurring so I don't have to deal with it, because I don't know it's going to be a problem. It's like, it could be, it's likely that it'll be a problem, but I don't know. So why inconvenience myself now? Why take steps now when I don't have to? And that's what karma is that preventative step, really, because it's, we're in a sense, we are reacting to a problem, but at the same time, it's not, people are hungry all throughout the year, so at Christmas or Thanksgiving, we're going to go out of our way to make things, to help them. Now, we're consistently every month working towards the solution to a problem so that we don't have to overextend. We don't have to wait until people are, in desperate need. It's like, no, we're helping you every month. We're helping these people today, tomorrow, so that they can build for themselves.
I guess a good question to end that on is like, if karma didn't come along, would hunger ever get tackled down a notch? Or would another form of karma just come along?
Well, here's the thing is that, and to kind of wrap it up with Rex, he's always said it. It's not my idea, it's our idea. And the thing that sets us, this group right here, apart from all of the rest is it comes back to that living in the now, right? Like you were talking earlier, Eric. Everybody wants to, the past can tie us up and the future can get us anxious. Well, the best thing to do is try to be present. And
If you're present and acting in the now, that's really the best answer. And it's neither preventative nor is it precautionary. It's really just being aware of what's going on. And this is the thing that I would say is that even if we ourselves weren't doing this, I have a firm belief that mankind, humanity as a whole, would eventually make this natural move in some fashion or another. Because here's the thing, what makes us different from everyone else is we all took a look at a situation and said, if not now, then when? And if not me, then who else?
I don't want to play this card, but I feel like we are very privileged to be able to do something like this. And that's just for that reason, be able to think this way and see this thing and have this like time to accept this and grow with this. I feel like that's, and I don't like the word privileged at all, but there's a lot of people that can't do this
nowadays.
Some people have to start that at some point, and I think it has to come from privileged, if you want to call it that. We're able to do it. We have the means met that are I don't know if it was previous karmic actions that we did throughout our life to get here, or whatever you want to call it, but right now we are able to do something about it.
Well, it's interesting that you say privilege, Eric, because it's the one thing that I've always said when it comes to a lot of this stuff is innovation and creativity and these kinds of solutions, they come from the middle out. And by the middle, I mean it's got to be from middle class, working type people that are involved in the issue right at ground level. Because somebody that has, like, if you're on an extreme, if you are incredibly wealthy, you have no idea what the issue is. So you can't ever do anything. And if you're on the bottom end, where all you can be is taking all the time, you're not in a situation to bring this, you need to step up a little bit and get some help before you can start presenting a solution, right? So the answer, and that's why I say it's not really privilege. It's, in all reality, it's that working class solution that everybody wants to look for and find. I mean, some of the craziest solutions come from areas that we wouldn't even think about. There was like a 14-year-old kid from Norway that I read about who found a way to pull microplastic out of the ocean water. That's a kid living in Norway. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say he's any more privileged than any one of us, but he had the means and the ability to have a little more time to work on a solution. And that's what that middle class working level allows people to do, is you've got enough that you can get by and live, but you've also got some free time and flexibility to put effort into other solutions, because hopefully that other solution is going to move you forward even more,
True.
So
but what guided that free time, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's that luxury.
That's the privilege I'm talking about, is like how you got to where you are right now.
Yeah.
Not everybody can do the $50 if you want to like cut it dry. Not everybody can think like this right now because they're too in survival mode to be able to think creative. And it's really hard to break that connection when that's literally your whole life has been survival.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but that's why I say the solutions come from the middle out. People that do have, they've still got to work. They're still down in the muck with everybody else, but they found a way to give themselves a little bit of extra time to work at it. And that's a privilege. And it's a shame that they squeeze the working class so hard, because, that's really the ideal candidates for those kinds of things.
Right.
So,
but I'm glad we started where we started, I mean, it's taken what it's taken, but there's progress. If you really want, I honestly asked Nicole this the other day, and this is a cool thought to end on if you really want to end on it. If you have an idea that is going to take 100 years to happen, what does a day look like to that idea?
it looks like this right here.
Right.
This is what it looks like right here.
The last hour or so.
Right. A day is nothing to 100 years.
But if you didn't have that day, it wouldn't have started.
Totally. But you need all those days to add up to make 100 years.
But that is a great thought to end on, Eric. And we'll go ahead and start wrapping this up, guys. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful time talking with you all tonight. Again, guys, Eric Judson, special guest star here with the Karmic Transmission. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you, Eric.
It was good seeing you all, friends.
So
Love you all.
Love you guys. Look forward to messages and alerts, guys. It's the Karma weekend, so we'll be out and have a few posts going for you. But we love everyone, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks, guys. So again, for those of us that want to find us, you can catch the recording on SoundCloud, right, Ayame? And then on YouTube, you can find the full-length video there. YouTube or Karma Incarnate on YouTube and Facebook. We're at the Karmic Feed on Twitter, at Ayame X Goddess on Twitter. And as always, guys, find us on Karma Incarnate. Get in touch with any of our community impact agents. And if you want to know how you can change your world and your life and your family's lives, let's do it together. Let's really make a good change for this new year, right? So, all right, guys, I love you.
Love you too. Come check out my tapestry. See, just sell that. Come to YouTube. Okay, bye, guys.
Night, guys.